What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the newest news for Twisted Metal Season 2. This actually came out the day after Christmas, completely flew under my radar, but I need to talk about it because it sounds absolutely awesome. So, couple different things to break down. Number one, well, where are they at? Well, according to the article by NBC, they're just kind of starting, right? So they have the first episode. They're talking about the first episode. They're looking at the bigger picture of the entire season arc. So yeah, very much kind of just beginning. That's okay. Take your time. You made a excellent, first season. You need to do it again for season 2. And again, there's a couple things in this article that get me really, really pumped. So let's start with the characters. So they talk about introducing Calypso, Axel, Dollface. Now, Dollface you already got a bit of at the very, very end of season 1, but also not in that tagline, Mr. Grimm. So that's what these next couple paragraphs talk about. So bringing to life Calypso, who is promised to fulfill the wildest dreams of one of the contestants who makes it out of the carnage alive. The showrunner teases a really cool direction for Dollface, which was already set up, and the arrival of Mr. Grimm. He's one of my favorites, and I'm excited to capture what the fans are excited about seeing, but also answer the question of how does he exist in the world we've set up. I think there's going to be a lot of fun with that, what kind of character he is in this world, and how does he interact with people like Sweet Tooth. Then they talk about Axel, and they say, even MJ admits that a man hooked up to a pair of giant tires will pose a unique challenge to a somewhat grounded world of the show. While some minor tweaks may be required to bringing the treaded icon to the small screen, the Twisted Metal boss assures us that Axel will be treated with the same reverence as Sweet Tooth. We have to get Axel right. Going on to add that he can't wait to explore the various dynamics between all the different drivers recruited for Calypso's battle. So this next part makes me pretty excited. We know the Cobra Kai connection, with the showrunner, but he talks about specifically in Cobra Kai, there's tournament seasons, and then there's not filler, but there's just like seasons where other things are happening, right? And they kind of alternate, and when it's tournament season, it's all about the tournament. It feels like a different pace. And then he says that's what you're getting literally for season 2. So he goes on to say that everything in season 2 is for the tournament. So he talks about these characters interacting with each other. How does Preacher react to Bloody Mary? Grimm react to Sweet Tooth? And then he talks about how long this show can survive. And he basically said, as long as he possibly can, right? He thinks the show can kind of go on indefinitely. And, in a way, he's right. There's kind of infinite Twisted Metal, like the tournaments. There's kind of infinite amounts of them. It really could go on as long as you wanted to, specifically if you were to kind of break it up each season, one season being a tournament, next season being a more maybe character kind of journey with some of these people. Now, I have a couple things I want to throw in. I am very interested, and even as he is, how do you do Mr. Grimm? How do you do Axel? Because there was a couple characters in the first season, even you could say Neve Campbell as Raven, right? Like there's some where you can't go all the way. You can't go fully as they were in the game. Less almost supernatural, more grounded. So those two specifically obviously do pose a problem. Calypso even too, like I think they nailed the voice, right? Because you hear him in the first season, and I was waiting for that. I was waiting to see how he sounded. Very good. Now you kind of have to decide on like the face. So like you have the massively over-the-top version in the first Twisted Metal game. Then you kind of have what they settled on afterwards. So I imagine they go with like what they settled on after. But then the biggest question is what do you literally do with this tournament, right? Because you want to be true to Twisted Metal, but like technically these characters die. Like when you lose Twisted Metal, it's the last one to make it out, or it's the only one to make it out alive. Now in the games, sometimes there would be returning characters, but you had the different versions where like different people would win. So it's very tough. Like in the first round of Twisted Metal, do you kill off people? Because like you can't kill off Sweet Tooth, although Sweet Tooth does, canonically die, and he, he'll come back in different iterations. So what do you do there? That's going to be, to me, the biggest thing, because so many of these characters aren't really killable, unless you bring in supernatural kind of elements, and I don't know if they would do that, so it makes it tough. Obviously, they're going to have their own answer, and we'll just have to kind of play along with it. And the only, I guess, one final thing I would throw in is Raven. Neve Campbell, great actress, obviously a fan favorite of mine. Raven, big character, but not in season 1. She was big in the moment she had. But then when I think of season 2, I think, okay, well, we're going to see a whole lot more of her. She's not really discussed like at all. So I think she will have a bigger role considering her motivations for John for the tournament. But I think the odds of her literally, and I guess like we knew this from season 1, the odds of her being in the tournament are extremely little to not at all, right? She's more on the outside, maybe trying to do like a one-up over Calypso, like that's kind of her motivation. So maybe that's why they didn't mention her, right? Because they're talking about the contestants going back and forth, maybe not her because she's not part of it. So again, we'll have to see how that goes. But man, I'm pumped. I really like. The thing that makes me the most excited about the article is that Cobra Kai kind of comparison, where if this is going to be a Twisted Metal tournament, which it is, right? It's going to all be about the tournament. I think I maybe missed it, reading it out to you guys, but he talked about how if you liked the final episode of season 1, which was the battle, and I thought it was excellently done. If you liked that, that is more of what you're going to see in season 2. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.